black screen. There we go. What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. This is the Big Games BS brought to you by the Sports Den, brought to you by thehumidor.com. Thehumidor.com is the go-to website for all things cigar related. Get your humidors, get your pipes, get your tobacco, cigars, cutters, torches, anything that you could possibly want. You can go to thehumidor.com and get it. It's already priced extremely well. It's again, I love the place. I go there all the time. It's one of my favorite things to go to. Check out, type in Sports Den at checkout, get an extra 20% off already lower rates. And at $150, you get free shipping. Like that's really the best prices that you can get. We're brought to you each and every day inside of Goodfellas and Cigar Lounge. It's where everybody knows your name. It's like Cheers. A lot of different events. We'll have 4th of July festivities here. July 17th, we're having a FSU Black Alumni Association is having their brunch. Gonna have my boy Shannon Cheeseburger. I'm not burger. Shannon Cheeseborough is gonna be doing brunch. We'll have mimosas and Pellinis for the ladies. Sorry, fellas. I'm just like you're not like it's nothing wrong with it. I just look at you weird if you go up here and you're like that's what you request is a mimosa or Pellini or Bellini. Like if you're drinking it with the ladies, great. If you come up to me and say, "Hey, Big Game, can you fix me a mimosa?" I'm just gonna look at you weird. I'm sorry, like I will judge you. So, but we have that going on here. All kinds of different stuff going on here at the lounge. Live music, live bands. I tell people all the time, it's a whole ass vibe. I don't really know if you're going anywhere else. I mean, sorry for you. And hopefully one day we'll be putting these Goodfellas lounges all over the place. And that's really all I got to say about that again from my bill pays. Today is a day of National Day of Rest, a national holiday. I believe everybody should get off. It's one of the greatest days of the year. Without this day, I would not be here, nor will my kids. And that's my mom's birthday. So shout out to Carmen Angela Adams Coleman, full government name right there. The only light-skinned woman in the world that I trust. I trust my grandmother too, but like everybody, but she's a little bit tougher. But shout out to my mom. She is gone. She's not 52. She can't be 50. Oh, she's 62. 62 years young. She's Benjamin Button right now. She's aging backwards. Like a lot of people her age don't have teeth or like have false teeth or veneers. Those big ass bright teeth in her mouth, those are her originals. Those are all hers. No braces, no nothing. Like she just takes really good care of her teeth. I love that woman. That woman really should teach a class on parenting. It's weird, man. Like she was able to raise me in a world that was really, really crazy. And I was listening to Jay-Z's masterclass about almost 15 years ago, and I heard it with Oprah, and I heard him talk about this, and it was one of the dopest things I've ever had because it reminded me of my mom. Like she gave me just enough rope or just enough leash to where I could go experience all the outside elements of the world, but she'd yank it back when I got too crazy. So to be able to know how to do that and know your child enough to be able to let them be able to experience that is wild. I can't fathom giving Trey the amount of freedom that you gave me, but I think it was great. It was great in my learning. You never. It's also like I put on one of my posts. Like you're the reason why I don't understand modern women, and you'll hear a lot of modern women talk about grandma put up with this or my mom put up with that, and when you really listen to what they put up with, it's not really. I don't know. It's not my judgment, not my cross to bear. But I think about my mother and how I was raised. I know my father wasn't the best. And in that, I never recall one instance of my mother saying my father wasn't shit. Like, that's extremely wild to me. Like, I never remember one instance. She always made us call him. I never remember my mom really overly complaining. I never really remember my mom allowing me to cower. I was listening to again one of my favorite comedians now, Ali Sadiq, and he was talking about I think every black male has that memory of your first fight and your mom forcing you to fight. And I remember my mom with my Oshkosh Bagosh. Somebody messed up my Oshkosh Bagosh, and my mom drugged my ass there by my big ass ears then and made me fight that kid. And said, I better look like that or I got to fight her. And I was cool. I'll take my chances with anybody my age. I wasn't about to get my ass whooped by my mama again. Not a double ass whipping. So, she taught me to be tough because the world is tough. She taught me not to complain, but like, it's just, it's being aware, as I tell people. Like, it's less about complaining and crying about the circumstances of the situation that you're in. And it's more about being aware, but okay, I'm aware now I have to do these things. And I just want to, give my mama her flowers and stuff like that while she's here. And that's my mama. I raised two decent kids, one great kid, one decent kid. And, to quote the gay ballerina in his song, Dear Mama. Oh my God. More and more. And even though I act crazy, I got to thank the Lord that you made me. There are no words that can express how I feel. You never kept a secret. Oh, and even that. So I'm going to get family business. So I actually have another sister and brother. Alex and Josh. I did not know Alex nor Josh existed until I was about 24 years old. And I remember, and this is when I realized, I always knew my mom was a real one, but this is when I realized my mom was the realest. In that moment of embarrassment and something that she had been asking my father for years, if there was any inkling that your son could have there could be another woman out here, because her biggest fear was that I was going to come home one day with a chick that had my features. And then she was gonna ask who her peoples was, and then she was gonna find out that was my sister. So and what was wild is Alex and Josh literally grew up about 5 miles away from where we lived in Tallahassee. But my mom, I remember asking Alex, when she told me that, I was like, "Who your mama in them?" And she told me her mama name, and I called my mom at work. And my mom is the type of woman that, she's at a state job. When I call, she likes talking to me. She gonna talk to me until she done talking to me on y'all tax dollars back in the day. But she gonna talk to me for 30 minutes. As long as I call that work phone, she can talk all day as long as she on that work phone. When she told me, I'll call you right back, and her tone, I was like, oh shit, this girl might really be my sister. And then she told me a story, and it was a funny story that I had heard almost all my life as a kid. And it just, goes to show, like, my mom was she didn't hide anything from it. She didn't try to like explain it away. She just said, hey man, this is what happened and it could be. And, hey, don't bring them kids around my house at that time, but now it's just water under the bridge. It is what it is. But salute to my mother and all that jazz. So happy birthday. She went to the movies yesterday. I don't know who she went to the movies with, but she went to the movies late at night. Hopefully she went by herself. And yep, that's about it. So on that note, getting into some real life topics and discussions. I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna go right because I did that. I'm gonna go heavy, and then I'm gonna pull out, which is what a lot of you guys are gonna have to do now with this Roe v. Wade decision coming out. You gotta work on your pull-out game. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about baby mamas. And that's my 8 o'clock brought to you by Green Acre Sporting Goods. Green Acre Sporting Goods is the go-to outdoor shop. You can get your fishing equipment, bows and arrows, I'm telling you, my next shooting is going to be shooting a crossbow. I want to know how to shoot that stuff just in case it all goes down. I've been watching a lot of these zombie video games. I think bows and arrows kill zombies more effectively because they're attracted to noise. So we got to have that. But the shotgun gets you out of that situation real quick. So you got that. You got safes. You got coolers. And you got your guns. You got your that right now. Go get you a 380. Get you a 9mm. If you want Glocks, you want Rugers, all the different things you want. But I believe every American should have a 9mm and a pump shotgun. Something about that pump shotty just really gets a lot of reckoning. It makes you really feel like, do I really want to steal this? Do I really want to come at this person? So I really, I think everybody should go get that. That's what I'm going to go get for my birthday. Give me another pump. Give me a 9. I'll probably get a 380 just for carry around, just in case, somebody want to get a little froggy and go meet their maker. So I bring up baby mamas. I have some history, but I've never had this bad. Like mine is just more annoying on other tips, but this took the cake. Did you see that? I think I sent it. The last one I sent to you, Miles. This man, you got it loaded up, right? Yeah. This man, and we're gonna show it here. This man went to go. He has a kid with this woman, and she's got 3 kids. She's got 3 other kids outside of his own kid. I don't really know the whole context of all of it, but I'll give my opinion on it. But like the bluff of it is that he went and picked up some food for his kids. For his kid, and he didn't take care of her kid. And so you're gonna go ahead. You got the sound playing?
Yeah, I can play it now.
Okay.
It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody.
What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry?
What he like? What do you mean?
Okay, what about my other kids?
What about your other kids?
Okay, but them your kids' siblings though.
What are you talking about? What are you
them my kids, them your kids' siblings though. My other kids finna be left out.
You didn't feed them?
You know I don't give my food stamps to the 7.
Listen, how is that my problem?
But if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out.
I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son.
How are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings?
Listen,
them are his siblings though. He's not finna eat in front of all his other siblings and they're not eating on McDonald's. Why do I gotta
bring him out to the car?
No. He's not finna eat that at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Listen, so you're telling me that I gotta bring? So when I bring my son food, I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound dumb.
How is that dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb.
Where are they daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to them other. You had them other kids. Them your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? So you know I get food stamps on the 11th.
She said 2 different dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said the 7th and then the 11th, but the problem with this is it's a lot of problems on a lot of different levels. The toxicity of the engagement is one. One of the things that I try to teach my boys is to honor their mom. Always protect your mother. I don't always fall to the highest of that standard, but never in this manner. Like you never get into no knockout, drag out fight with your children's mother in front of them, and that's on both adults. Like in the same thing. You see a lot of women talk about men ain't shit and this, that, and the other. Well, but then they also bring up these statistics that, again, all these statistics are bullshit, but like they bring up these statistics about how, black single mothers, well, who are raising these men? So what you're doing is you're showing this young man that this is okay. I'm finding fault on both parties. It's not one. Man probably should have engaged in it, should have de-escalated. That's asking a lot because you felt like you're doing the right thing by your kid, but arguing like that is not. We should have pulled it to the side, even though she came with the camera, which isn't really helping. I think he thought it was a joke at first. It's so many things to break down in that, though. She says it's not right for that kid to eat McDonald's from his dad in front of the other siblings. And you should have brought some for everyone. But like you're holding accountable the father who is being accountable to his kid. If you are in fact in a situation where you don't get food stamps to the 7th or the 11th, one of the two. And maybe she said the 11th the whole time. I thought I heard 7th one time and the 11th the other one. Which, by the way, she would be like that's one of the wildest food stamps things in the world. And it still would solve the McDonald's issue because McDonald's is hot meals, food stamps covers cold items that you got to go cook and prepare yourself. But why didn't you just ask the other fathers to get their kids meals? Or do you, if in fact you know that those fathers are involved, and if they're not involved, still that is not this father's responsibility. Now, if he wanted to, it would have been cool. If you would have probably had communication, hey, I need you to bring some food. By the way, I'm a little short right now. I don't really know what's going on with their dads. That money, if you would have spent on McDonald's, can you maybe take another 10 and go buy me a 20 piece or a 10 piece, excuse me, from Popeyes? There's ways to diffuse the situation to be able to talk about this and come to an amicable thing. But like just taking this logic, I created a life with you, not the other ones. And he has siblings. So what happens at Christmas when I decide I wear Jordans, I wear this, and I buy my son what I wear. If your kids are wearing Pro Kids or Bobos, is that my fault that my kid got better gifts than your kid? Or is that those kids' father's fault? Or is this something where you believe that I should just give you the money and let you take care of Christmas and there be no personal touch to my interaction with the kid? Now, she is kind of right that there can cause some animosity where people be like, your dad loves you more. And it's a jealousy thing. But I think one of the problems, and I've seen a lot of people go on both sides of the spectrum. People are like, well, he should have. And then really, actually, before I get into that, it's the terminology that she's using, which is so ironic to me in all of this. She calls him dumbass and broke. I see women use this all the time when they talk about the $500 first dates, or men saying, don't use me to get you a meal, or I'm not going to pay for the vagina or this. And women will be like, or if you a broke boy, you the one begging. In this situation, you're the one who can't provide for your other 3 kids. It's your job as the sole custodian or the guardian to provide consistent meals. It's your job to be able to put the other dads on food stamps. It's your job, and it's their job to be able to be there. So you need to hold them accountable. My job is to co-parent with you for the one kid that I have. And I feel more sorry or less sorry for this gentleman based upon which daddy he is. Because I use the same terminology that I use to a woman about Future. If he was baby daddy 1, I feel really bad for him. Now, if you're baby daddy 4, then bro, you knew what you was getting into when you got to this situation. But if he's baby daddy 1, he don't even really know these other kids. And if he was baby daddy 4, I think he would have had to have been with her enough to understand her situation a little bit more, to where now you're like literally like, hey, I'm going to help, because at some point you were the male figure in those kids' lives. It's just an odd overall situation, and it is sad because those kids are seeing it. But it's sad that we all look at somebody as a commodity, and this is where people get burnt out. Like, because I'm doing the right thing does not mean that you got to jump on me and have me continue to do the right thing. Actually, got some comments. You post some comments up there, Miles? See what that first one that with John, so I didn't get a chance to read that. Man, that's tough, but you have to be smarter about it. Take your child for the day, spend time with them, and get them food, or go to Little Caesars and get pizza. I agree, that could be something. Or the mother who's the guardian of the kid should have better communication. Talk to the guys, say, hey man, go all the kids need to eat. I'm struggling. She said, like it was assumed. again, what we're talking about is the person who has taken accountability for his seed to have accountability for the other seeds when he didn't have anything to do with those. That's accountability on the mom. John G, I agree. The dad should have took his child to McDonald's instead of bringing the food to the kids. Hey, man, listen. I can see that. It's probably better ways to do the situation, but at the end of the day, this is no matter. You can't circumvent this right here. You're holding the person who is doing their job as a dad to a higher standard than the mama and the other dad. She chose them. See, that's the problem right here. And this is why this is the world we're really about to get into. Because these are the people who couldn't afford to even get the Planned Parenthood. These are the people who can't afford these are the people who are going to procreate and have more kids. They're going to be more of a burden to us as the taxpaying citizen. And I don't have a problem with that. And the thing is that I am not to be held accountable for the decisions that you made outside of our relationship. Period. That's on you and the men that you chose to let shoot up your club. Because this is what I truly believe. This is what could have happened. If all the kids' dads were doing their jobs, this would be a moot point. But again, carrying it out. Do I have to buy Christmas gifts for all the kids' siblings? If my child has a better birthday party, do I have to have a better birthday party for all the other kids' siblings? Do I have to do all of these different things, man? I mean, if he was the first dad, if he was the first baby daddy, I don't know those kids. If he was the last, I feel less sorry for him because you do know those kids. But there's a lot of context to be left. But at the end of the day, the one thing I've always said, and I see a lot of women talk about this and men too, and I hold men accountable to this too. If you're upset with your baby mama asking for a ton of money, go get your kid. Force the issue. What I would do in this situation, I'm showing this video to a judge. And every one of y'all know she just claimed that she's unfit, basically in that. True. So all you guys saying he should have handled it a different way, you're basically admitting the same thing that a logical, common sense person would say. She can't afford all 4 kids. So if you can't afford my child, give me my goddamn child. Then he ain't got to worry about being jealous of his siblings. He can come over there, hang out with them when he wants to. But again, I can't be held accountable for how I treat my kid. And if I treat my kid better than your other fathers treated your kid, then it shows I'm about as sound judgment as you've ever made in your life. You probably shouldn't have let me leave. And don't let the mother cat shoot your club up. But I think that's, again, that's me coming from the mindset of my mother. My mother she only has one. I have this, me and my sister have the same daddy. Sometimes I think I look a little bit like Ice Cube. That bothers me a little bit, but same man signed both of our birth certificates and he ain't do shit for either one of us. But my mom didn't go around crying and complaining for decisions that she made. She took this thing called accountability, which is wild. It's a novel concept. It's her job. She chose to take care of us. At the end of the day, it's her job to make sure that we were fed. And now the other one is called support. She ain't even get the support. It's not called child take care of. It's called child support. The other money is supposed to go to the support. If you can't take care of the kid, get a kid to the person who can. And I think that's really where a lot of people, where I may agree to disagree with some of you guys on. But again, my child would be always taken care of. It's not my job to take care of other people's children unless I want to. I will try to always find that, but the solution, there are better ways. One thing we can all agree on, there are better ways to handle it and not arguing in front of them jits. Arguing in front of them jits isn't one. But speaking of handling a really, really good situation, I want to shout out Mario Cristobal going into college recruiting. There was a young man who attended, and I want to say he's from Pensacola, Florida. He's a rising freshman. Yep, Kobe Howard, Pensacola Catholic. I played against them in high school. And he was ripping it up at the different at the Miami Legends camp, excuse me. A lot of people have been talking about him, how he's going to be a really good prospect. He was crushing everybody. In about 10 minutes left in the camp, he went up for a 50-50 ball, and he came down, and the defensive back landed on him, and he landed awkwardly on his leg. He was in pain. He couldn't walk. He has a broken tibia, which is the big bone in the leg. It's not the fib. The fibula is, is easier to get off of. Broken tibia. He'll be out for 3 months. Basically, he's going to miss the this upcoming football season, and he's got to recover. And what's cool about this story is, and this is where sports and where I think coaches sometimes just straight up get it. And I'm going to give Mario props for straight up getting it. Now, this wasn't a handout or a feel sorry. This kid was actually doing really, really well. So, and I don't even think that has anything to do with it. I think the kid would have probably gotten this, but most kids get this kind of injury. The first thing they think is the school's going. You've heard the horror stories of schools pulling out when guys tear their knees up and stuff like that. Mario Cristobal goes over to the ambulance and he tells the young man, "I'm going to see you at the hospital." Cristobal does everything he needs to do. And then he comes in and he offers this young man a scholarship based upon what he did at the camp, but letting him know that now, granted, scholarships this early are more gestures than they are like real deal things. You can't commit, but they really can't do anything to you until after I think the spring of your sophomore year is really when they can offer you a true grant aid. But this is what Howard said. Coach coming to the hospital, I felt real special about it. He didn't have to come and check on me. Coach Cristobal came and stayed for a bit. He was sorry it happened and that I wasn't getting a scholarship because I wasn't getting a scholarship because I was in the hospital or because of what happened. It was because I earned the scholarship. Howard's father was present for the 20 minutes that he was there. It meant a lot. I meant they really care about the human being part. Not just the athlete, the person himself. I really appreciate Coach coming out and speaking with us and letting us know how he really felt about Kobe as a person. He was released from the hospital. General manager and former great Alonzo Highsmith met with the family. He looks like he's a good athlete. Explained to him that once he suffered a leg injury. He also said he'll be keeping tabs on him and to call him anytime for mentorship and advice. And I can tell you this, that's how you make a kid. That's how you can get a top kid and make him and let him be number one. In this age of everybody talking about name, image, and likeness, I have consistently said this. Relationships matter. And this is how you build a relationship. You build a rapport. And people don't forget those times when you were there for them. Money is a motivator, but it's not the only thing. And I want to just take this time to say, as much as I rib my rivals, take this time to say kudos and congratulations to Miami for doing a great thing for this young man. Now, if y'all pay that medical bill, that'd be great too. But, not saying you got insurance or whatever, but just saying that's going to be a little bit costly and with the rehab and all these things. But again, this is also why I was talking a few shows ago about why I have been telling kids that I mentor, stop going to all these damn camps, man. At a certain point, man, you won't see me. It's pay for play, or in some concept, some way, shape, or form. But I'm not about to be running routes for 10 consecutive camps. But that's a good look on him. Keeping into with injuries and recovering. Mia O'Brien posted a couple days ago. Travis Etienne's workout. Now he's training in Dallas. And Travis Etienne, if you don't know, the former Clemson Tiger running back, extremely explosive young man. I absolutely hated seeing him for 4 years at Florida State. Like this kid, I just wait, could he just leave by now? He had a Liz Frank injury, which is an injury to the top of the foot. And what it's done in the past is literally taking the explosiveness away from you. If you're watching this video right now with me, it don't look like he's lost a step. I normally hate these drills. Nothing bothers me more than cones. It's a lot of cha-cha slide, a lot of salsa dancing, a lot of stuff that's not really relative to the game. And you'll never run the ball like what he's doing, but it's a lot of accelerate, cut, jump cut, accelerate, get out of the breaks. So while you may not ever do that to that extent in this in this drill, these are all real relative things. I would never do them with a kid that I coach at running back, but I can see this is like one of the few drills that I find relative. I'm starting to I kind of almost want to go to a class that maybe some of these cone chasers teach because this shit's getting creative now, man. Like my drills, I'm writing the programming for World Gym, and I can see how to develop the athlete and my vision of a perfect piece of putty that I'm developing and creating into an athlete. But it's like I can take this and just tell you, and you can do it. You couldn't tell me that. I don't even know what the fuck this drill is called. Like, like, and when you're putting cones together, like it's like Picasso painting. Like, how do you see the end goal? Like, and I really do understand squeezing between the two trash cans. And congratulations for Taven Bryan being useful for once out there. Being in a drill for Travis Etienne as a trash can. But I don't know, like, how do you know to put the little orange disc shaped thing on the ground and anyways, but Travis looks really, really healthy. It kind of gets you a little excited about the Jaguars because of that. Because if you have him, so personnel groupings, right? So most defenses are they put out different linebackers, a certain amount of DBs based upon personnel groupings. You've got 12 personnel, which is a tight end, two running backs. You've got 10 personnel. You've got 22 personnel, which is big boy football. You've got just things like that. So like you're able to go with a 12 personnel grouping with a tight end, two backs, and still be able to run 3 wide receiver sets because Travis Etienne could be a slot receiver. So you can actually have linebackers walk out there and have to you have more linebackers on the field than you need. And the biggest mismatch on the field is a linebacker on a running back. Or especially one that has hands and runs routes like a wide receiver. You can also get big and you can still run power football, run misdirection. It's a lot of things a lot of wrinkles that this gives the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, and it's kind of really cool. James Robinson's running, Travis Etienne's running. So all the healthy guys, the sick and shut in, are now looking like they're going to be able to make some moves and ball out a little bit, giving Trevor Lawrence more options. I'm trying not to. I've never been that guy, man. And I don't know how to do this, dog. But I really don't want to be overly excited about the Jacksonville Jaguars because they've been so disappointing. But, like, damn, it's looking like more and more. I'm feeling what they're doing, man. I'm feeling what they're doing. So we will check it. We shall see. We shall see. But NFL news notes with the Jags getting closer to the season, getting closer to training camp. We should have some more stuff. Check me out on First Coast News with Chris Porter here in a few weeks, where we'll be discussing all things Jacksonville Jaguar related. Getting into something that, spooky season, as I would say. The Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC, has made an announcement that they are shifting from divisions to the top 2 teams in the conference will play in the conference championships. And with that shift, there are now teams that are going to play. There will be 3 permanent games. So that's your 3. Then you've got 5 games that are variable throughout the season. Throughout the season. So that, so that kind of, then you play the next 5 after that. I'm trying to pull up the, and while you're looking up the one for 2026, that's when it gets spooky for us. I'm trying to find the actual, just the first. Okay, so 2023. So not this football season, next football season. The schedule actually gets a little bit easier for Florida State. You got UM at home, who will have no longer have Tyler Van Dyke. They will have Garcia. They'll have three quarterbacks battling for that position at that point. 4 actually. Syracuse, Duke, Virginia Tech, who hasn't really been as great as of late. You got Clemson. Clemson will always be tough. Clemson, Syracuse, Miami are our 3 permanents, by the way. Boston College, who might as well have been a permanent. But they've been in the Atlantic Atlantic division with us. Pitt, who will be rebuilding by that point, and Wake Forest, who should be rebuilding. That's a great 2023 schedule for Mike Norvell, by the way. 2024, you've got Clemson, Boston College, North Carolina, NC State, all at home. UM, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Virginia, on the road. Nothing scary about that. Can't wait to go to Atlanta in 2024. 2025, UM, Syracuse, Pitt, Wake Forest. Away, Clemson, Duke, Louisville, Virginia Tech. Now, here's where it gets scary. In 2026, Florida State's ACC schedule will be Clemson, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Virginia, and Louisville's getting better. So I'm going Clemson, Louisville, Miami, and who knows what North Carolina State and North Carolina. They always been good. But you got 3 right now as it stands, really, really tough games. 1 rivalry, 1 Clemson. Louisville's having a hell of a recruiting class this year. Those guys should be seniors if everything stays the same. But this is what you got also. At Alabama, Tuscaloosa. Unless Nick Saban is dying, I want us out of that game. That's a tough one right there. That's a doozy. Alabama, Clemson, Miami will always have Florida. And here's the kicker. No matter who's the coach, they are an iconic blue blood program. They will always get top guys. Notre Dame. That is 5 hard-ass games before you add in Louisville and who knows what North Carolina or North Carolina State will be at that point. Like, geez Louise, boy, you better get this recruiting shit under together, Florida State. Like, it's tough, man. That's a scary schedule. And Florida State's got home and away, or home and home with Alabama, and then we got some with Georgia coming up. And knowing that Florida State, shit, we probably put the Alabama game in Tampa or something, like just because we don't like to play home games. And that's if we still have Coach Norvell and a lot of these guys still here. Nobody really knows how it's going to look or how it's going to work out, but it's going to be wild. It's going to be tough. Hopefully, hopefully this is just I don't know, man. It's crazy. Again, like I said, spooky season. That's the best way to describe it. Now, moving on to the next thing. So we talked about keeping it college, man. Name, image, and likeness has brought out some of the worst in you adults. And things that don't matter are bringing out some of the worst in race relations. I really wish I could find it. Let me see if I can find it. But while I'm looking for it, the BET Music Awards happened this past a couple of days ago, and at that, Puffy is proving every day what Little Duval has said about becoming an older black man. It's better when you become older. And what I mean by that is, like, you get you just get so much more. Like you can go up, you can go down, you can stay the same age, but like especially when you got a little bread in your pocket, because you know it's weird. It's a weird thing, and I think I've talked about this. So like, I have a friend, a social media friend who's living her best city girl life right now, and one of the comments that she's made was that that women are more mature than men, right? Physically mature more than men, because she can't believe the mentally side, because again, this is the dysfunction that sometimes our women think. She said that she never dated anybody younger when she was young. She only dated older men because she was so much more mature. But now she's dating younger men because she's tired of older men. So she's gotten through all her hot girl, city girl days, and now she's dipping her toe into the younger men water. But she says that younger men aren't more mature. So either she's a pedophile and she's manipulating young men, or she just knows that's bullshit, what she said. But when you look at Puffy has dated, and Puffy's son both dated Lori Harvey, which is when people say, why is Lori Harvey getting why are people calling her a harlot? Most people don't run through the whole family. And most sons should be like, hey, man, don't mess with my dad now, you know. But Puffy's dated younger, dated older, done all these things. But Puffy has, was it Carisha? Whatever, Young Miami. And Young Miami got a show on Revolt, probably based upon Puffy. But I don't like Young Miami, as I've said. Give me old Miami all day. But he gets an award, he gets on stage, and he shouts out Kim, his late baby mama, as the love of his life. He shouts out Cassie, another woman that he's been with, all while Young Miami's got a sign saying, yeah, daddy. Like, she's cheering him on. I'm like, yo, this goes to show you, men, you could be Future or Russell Wilson. Just get to a certain age, and you're going to always have choices. But what Puffy also did during that time was he made an announcement. He's going to give $1 million to a HBCU, Jackson State. And he said it's important for us to play with us. He's also, and then from an uproar, a lot of people did not pay attention to the fact that he also is giving $1 million to Howard University, his alma mater. Message boards went crazy on the Pilgrim side and on the colored side. What I mean by that is FSU in particular, because anytime something happens with Jackson State, FSU fans feel like it's a personal slight to FSU because Deion Sanders took Travis Hunter. You got to get that pain away, guys. Let that hurt fucking go, please. It's getting old at this point. Why does he give $1 million to an HBCU? And it's the age-old, like, ignorant white person response. And I'm not saying it because I'm going to coin a phrase. Because I don't believe a lot of you are racist. I'm with you. You're not racist. You're race-ish. It's a little sprinkle. It's more ignorance than it is racism. He doesn't mean like first and foremost, nobody says anything when Moore, who has the automobile, had the antique automobile thing, where he didn't even have Barack Obama put as a president, hung up. Just skipped Obama. Got Trump up there, but skipped Obama. Nobody says, why doesn't he give to FAMU when he gives $20 million and he makes an announcement? Nobody really cares about what people do with their money until it becomes an HBCU. But you do know why HBCUs were made. My mother went to an HBCU. My mother was the first person in my family who ever went to an integrated school. It wasn't that long ago. Like, HBCU's sole existence were because your grandparents refused to go to school with my grandparents. That's why HBCUs are created. It's not created to be segregated from white people. It's just y'all didn't want us being in school. That's why it's important to learn history. It wasn't just you didn't want us using the same restrooms, drinking from the same water fountains. You didn't want us reading the same books. Hell, my great-granddaddy, his parents didn't even know how to read. It was illegal for them to read. So HBCUs are here, and just because this magic pixie dust got sprinkled with Brown versus Board of Education doesn't mean you stop hundreds of years of a way of thinking overnight. Hell, even then, do you realize they had to have National Guard and soldiers force your grandparents to allow my grandparents or their friends to go to school with them when the law was changed? And even to this day, it's still kind of awkward. But white people go to HBCUs all the time. It's dope. It's a really dope experience. It's if you go hang out with some, if you need some black people to hang out with, like I told y'all, come to a Juneteenth celebration. Come hang out, man. You're gonna like the food. The food gonna be seasoned. All of this shit. It's not what you think it is. But the poster on FSU on War Chant doing what you guys do to me all the time. On War Chant's like, well, what if we gave money to only ours? Like, why can't that is racist? Racism is a construct. Like, do you know who plays this game? Guys that look like Deion, guys that look like Puffy. Hell, they listen to Puffy's music sometimes. When you make posts like that, somebody screenshots it and they put it out there, it's race-ish. It's making you look really bad. And it makes black kids say, like, yo, is this how they really think? Why should I go here? And all it is, be honest with you, is pushing more kids to look at HBCUs. You're giving more fuel to the fire. It's not working in the manner in which you want it to work. You don't care. That's the problem. The big problem is you really don't give a shit. You really don't care if they go to HBCU, and you don't care where Puffy spends his money. You're mad at Deion, you're mad at Travis, and you don't really have. Listen, I actually have a reason to not like Deion, and y'all making me like him. That's what's wild. Y'all hate for Deion is so strong for no reason other than him beating us for a recruit that it makes me actually being slighted by Deion amongst other young players who played for Florida State during that time from a brotherhood standpoint. Be like, you know what? Whatever. I can get over it. Hell, I help FAMU all the time with NILs and stuff. The most important thing is that name, image, and likeness is doing their thing. When Snoop Dogg was going out to LA to go hang out with USC when they were good, when it wasn't Brad Paisley, I'm trying to think of the football, the petite country music singer that Coach Biden let practice with us, and he told us we couldn't hit. Kenny Chesney. If Kenny Chesney wants to write a check to Florida State, if Creed, if they make any more music, if Creed wants to come and write a check to Florida State because they got guys who are from Tallahassee, it is what it is. Like, why do y'all pocket watch? It's really beyond me. But I'm glad that Puffy is doing more for HBCUs and raising awareness. Also, shout out to Jacksonville for hosting hosting Jackson State versus Bethune-Cookman here coming up. I want to give you guys some really good insight on that because it's really dope, right? This is innovation right here. So let me find the text because, and the cool thing is I get a lot of stuff from, a lot of these different HBCUs because of what I do. The Jackson State AD looked at what Bethune-Cookman makes in revenue. And they looked at because where they were going to have to fly into. More than likely, Jackson State was going to have to fly into Jacksonville anyway. So what they did, he talked to the athletic director at Bethune-Cookman and said, hey, man, y'all ain't really making no bread. Ain't nobody going to y'all games anyway. Let's just make this into a classic type game, and let's move it to Jacksonville. That way, we all make money. And it's also genius because it's going to make you guys even more mad at Florida State. While we're giving away games, they're coming into town more. So now Deion gets to come to Florida, and you know what he's going to do? That's the same weekend as Clemson. So if Florida State isn't winning and we're losing, what game you think a recruit going to want to come to? They're going to come drive to Tallahassee to come see FSU get drugged by Clemson? Or are they going to come see Deion and all the majestic stuff that Deion brings and see him beat Bethune-Cookman by 50? If Florida's struggling, do you think you want to go to Gainesville or do you want to go to Jacksonville? So Jacksonville's looking at it as a standpoint. We're getting more eyes on the city of Jacksonville. We're getting more people coming in, and now you're going to get a ton of recruits coming. And I'm sorry, if you've never been to an HBCU game, you need to go. It is a completely different experience. It is glorious. The food is delicious. I love the Marching Chiefs. Marching Chiefs, dope as hell. I want them. I actually got to talk to my dog. I need to get 5 Marching Chiefs. My birthday, I want to be like Prince Hakeem. I want everywhere I go, I want the band to go in before I go. If I can't do it for my birthday, I want to do it for my book bag drive. I just want to go around the city of Tallahassee. I want the war chant played. I want Seminole Uprising played. But a lot of recruits are going to go there. They're going to see the band. They're going to see the pageantry, the atmosphere. Women still drive recruiting. It's some fine ass women in HBCUs. Hey, listen, best thing that happened was when was it Jackson? It wasn't Jackson State. Alabama State played Florida State, and they came, and there was a guy said, "Man, it was white." One of our white followers, man. Hey, listen, we had a high five moment on that one right there, boy. Hey, my guy said, "Hey, man, is it wrong for me to say, man, them dancers is them dancers is dancing, ain't them?" And I'm like, yeah, my pilgrim. That's right. What I'm talking about. You see what I see, baby. We can all benefit from seeing some gyration and some seasoning. Ain't nothing wrong with that, baby. Appreciating it. And I remember one HBCU person got up there and said, they have names. They're the Hornet Dancers or some bullshit like that. So shut up. I ask you all that. We were appreciating the asses shaking. You appreciate the asses being shaken and then tell us the name. You ain't got to come out like that, you know. But anyways, the point is, shout out to Jackson State with that. NIL, it's time to get creative with it. Be afraid of it or, you know, be overcome by it. But you're either gonna adapt or die. And that's the point with the whole NIL thing. Hell, and another thing going on with NIL is I didn't give you this one, Miles, but Bengals running back Travion Williams will be an adjunct NIL professor at Texas A&M School of Law starting in spring of 2023. Who better to teach athletes how to navigate this shit than athletes? And we're going to be July 16th in Tallahassee, Florida. We're still trying to lock down the location. I'm hoping to have it at the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship in Florida State. We're going to have an NIL symposium for athletes or anybody who wants to learn more about NIL. We will have former athletes speaking about how to navigate from being an athlete professionally, collegiately, professionally to being into the professional world. We will start also having online symposiums for any student athlete at Florida State that wants to come and hear about how to properly account for the money you get, how to properly be an entrepreneur with all of this, how to properly brand yourself, how to properly do these things. It's bigger than just getting these inflated ass numbers that you idiots believe every week. If I want an article to get 1 million clicks, all I got to do is say I offered an athlete a stupid amount of money. You're going to believe that shit. If it was that easy, it'd have been done. I talked to my guy, Michael Ross, who's the president of the NFLPA here in Jacksonville. The retired NFL Players Association here in Jacksonville. And if you're a retired player, make sure, even if you, and Mike is telling me, even if you're like me, you got a cup of coffee and ate a couple of beignets, you have NFLPA benefits now into the new structure of the CBA. So you need to check those out. But he was asking me some questions. And I was just telling them, like, man, it's just really not. It's not what everybody thinks, man. It's just they know it's the boogeyman. They know they can get your feathers ruffled, and you know. But the funniest thing is, and I'm going to read this off before because I already did my 8 o'clock. And what I want to get into, I really don't really give a shit about Kendrick Perkins arguing with the ugly ass dude from the Golden State, the Golden Skin Warriors. But everybody talk, and I talked about this on the NIL movement with me and Sporadics, Chris Frazier, that we do. Everybody is talking about the kids and how the kids are spoiled. Are they going to be motivated? Are they going to be this? Are they going to be that, right? And they're putting their own personal things on the athlete, right? Okay, my bad. I was trying to read that. Like they're putting their own personal things and your own personal aspirations. And the reality is 90% of Americans have never done anything elite in life. But this is what I shared. So Christy Dosh, her husband is the one who gave me my shot in radio. Awesome guy, Chad Scott. Probably the most weird follow on Twitter, but awesome guy. Her Twitter handle is at sportsbiz, B-I-Z, miss. At sportsbiz, M-I-S-S. She is probably the foremost and most knowledgeable person in all of name, image, and likeness in the nation. She doesn't just get articles, she knows all the collectives, but she actually did her research and she asked the athletes. Sometimes there's a few things in being a parent that I've learned. You have to be firm and you don't let the kid make some of the choices, right? Because they're not ready. You kind of guide them into it. So like while I applaud just on a broad spectrum in a wild degree, like I applaud Dwayne Wade and what they do with their daughter or whatever. Now, their prerogative. It's a retweet by Jason Bergman on her page if you want to go look for it. And it's a summation of an article she wrote. But they said that their daughter knew that she wasn't a boy when they were 3 years old. And I think I know my kid, but right now, Killer is 3 and he identifies as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm not going to let my son be a Tyrannosaurus Rex because that would be bad parenting. It's that one right there, Miles. And but if he turns 18 and still thinks he's a dinosaur, then God bless. But right now, I think he's going to grow out of it. Also, if I let Trey and Kai make every decision that they wanted to make, they will eat pizza, fruit snacks, and juice every time. So there's that. There is the nutritious thing that I have to do and be a parent, right? But then there's some times when I have to listen to things. Like my son's going to play Pop Warner this year for the first time. I'm going to push him because there's going to be times when he's tired and doesn't want to do it. But if he is telling me he doesn't like it because a coach is yelling at him or a coach is doing something that's not right and I don't listen, then I'm doing him a disservice. If I don't try to learn, like when I didn't know how to read out the gate, right? My mother didn't just push and pressure me and say, you're going to do this. She had to learn what my reading style was so that I can become successful, right? That's something else I didn't talk about my mama, bro. She was my first and my most consistent teacher. I love her for that. Again, shout out mommy on your birthday. But what Christy did was Christy went and interviewed student athletes. And this is what they said they wanted. Entrepreneurship-based education. Now, they didn't say they wanted bigger NIL deals. They want the money, but they want to know how to make this money for the rest of the year. And so here's the quote from her article. Many athletes are looking at NIL as a long-term opportunity, not just a chance to make money. I'm going to repeat that. Many athletes are looking at NIL as a long-term play, basically. Many athletes are interested in using NIL to pursue something that takes them beyond graduation. It's the phrase that I've used that everybody is using now. It's not about your 4, it's about the 40 after it. It's your short-term, your short-mindedness that you're trying to put on these kids. They're way more entrepreneurial than you give them credit for. They're doper than you give them credit for. They understand that every aspect of this is a business and they want to make, and they don't want in on it for just 4 years. They want in on it for the rest of their lives. It's you, the parent. Bobby Bowden, a lot of y'all like to quote him. Bobby always says this. It ain't the kids that's changed, it's the parents. It's your short-termness. It's your short-sightedness that you're trying to put on these kids, and these kids see, yo, I can really change my family situation. Most football players come out and say, I want to take my mama out the hood. I want to get my mama a house. Okay, I get a chance to do that and also not be a burden for the rest of my life on them. Athletes aren't impressed with their current education options. I've always said this before. Your degree is not worth the piece of paper that it was printed on if it doesn't come with a job. Now, what happens is because you're a student athlete, you don't have the time to take the internships that other students have. So get that work experience to be able to come out and be ready. All you have is your athletic acumen. And if that doesn't translate to what you need to do in your field, it doesn't help you. But with the name, image, and likeness, you can kind of curate that. We can do more for you. The speakers who come and talk to them just aren't interesting. They want to know people who are more like them, who have done things for them. Ask your athletes who they follow, read, and listen to get advice from. Learn their formats. That's what we're doing at Micanopy 1851. We're actually trying to figure out how the athlete learns and how to prepare them to become a better brand. When you actually study this stuff and you start asking questions and you stop making assumptions, you start to really learn something. Because here's what an assumption does. It makes an ass out of you and me. And that's what you guys have done. Athletes want more legal education. We don't have it right now, but we will have it. And anybody who, if you're going to get into these things with these kids, be committed to the kids. Fight through it. Be an adult. Don't let simple skirmishes and little ass disagreements fuck up the bag or the opportunity for these young men and women. Don't say you're about the young man or woman and then leave at the easiest side of trouble or because you got some personal shit going on. As a former athlete who's had that happen to them before, it's actually annoying and it's disingenuous. And I don't want to hear anything you have to say later on down the road because you weren't there for me when I needed you the most. They want more opportunities to connect with each other. And I'll put even more on that. More opportunities to connect with former athletes or former alums. The best way that you can make this education better is to make sure you're connecting an athlete with somebody. I believe that when you graduate at the end of 4 years or 3 or 5, you should be able to have at least some kind of internship or some kind of job with a booster or a notable alum from that university that can help catapult you into your future. It doesn't have to be forever. It could just be something where you're getting 2 to 3 years of experience where you can continue to move forward and progress. But that's really what all of this can do. And there's so much more in those articles. But one thing about this information age and this age of where nobody is arguing to learn. Nobody discusses to get better. Everybody discusses to win a fucking argument that is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Name, image, and likeness is here to stay. You don't have to like it, but it's here. What can you do to help better prepare these athletes? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Everybody says, what about taxes? Well, what about it? Create me a one-sheeter that says this is how you properly form your LLC. This is what you need to do as an athlete for your write-offs. This is what it should look like at 50,000, for 50,000, 100,000, 250,000, million. Come up with some things so that these kids can see, so that they can be prepared. They can be educated. But saying it's the boogeyman is going to be the downfall is doing nothing more than passing the buck. Do you either want to be a burden or do you want to be an asset? Because I tell you how to win in this name, image, and likeness landscape where everybody is making up these fake ass numbers and thinking that this is what it's about. The best way you can show an athlete about name, image, and likeness is to show how you treat your former athletes through support and fiscally, or how you support your current athletes' dreams and aspirations. Just like with MFTK Foundation, we're partnering with these kids they're doing the book bag drives in their host cities. Their home cities. It's better for me to do it that way to show them how it's done than go with the Boys and Girls Club. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. Boys and Girls Club, dope. But these kids have their own philanthropic pursuits and goals that they want to do. Why the hell would I just pay them to show up somewhere when I could literally pay them to set it up themselves or show them how to set it up themselves and help get them paid? It's chess, not checkers. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Everything, to wrap it up with a neat bow and continue to give honor to the woman that gave me life. Everything that she's ever taught me was about legacy and how to pay it forward. So that's really what it all comes down to. It's how you gonna pay it forward. And as I joke, I'm a walking NIL. Who better to show somebody how to do it than me? But I appreciate you guys checking us out on this Wednesday show. A lot of topics that we hit. Man, go get your kids some McDonald's and Sprite today. We call it McWednesdays in my house. So like my kids are straight. Hopefully you don't have a ton of kids and only one kid's getting McDonald's. So check that out. Check out this show. Check out the past shows. Check out the NIL movement. Check out Sporadics by Fifth Quarter. All that good stuff that we're putting up. More content on the YouTube channel. And Kaylin DeLoach giving a tour, giving back to kids should be up on the YouTube channel sometime today or tomorrow. Very good video. If you need something heartwarming to warm your, again, everybody's heart's so cold now. Everything's so bad. Kaylin did some cool shit. So I love it. And we'll see you guys later.